Welcome back to Living with a Classic, and here is the Daimler Coupe that has been turned from right-hand drive to left-hand drive and put back on the road after a few years off the road. And we're getting really close. It's the mad dash to finish it. Like I said with this series, I'm not filming everything because a lot of this is done before, but still following along. So I think the last time you saw the car, I just gotten the dash in. Since then, a lot has been done, and I'm actually getting ready to lower it down on the ground because everything underneath is done. And then it's just time to get some things done in the engine bay, and hopefully maybe even later today we can get this thing to fire up, because in a couple days it needs to show up for its inspection to get, like an MOT. And then the day after that, it needs to go to the summer meet where it's going to be as a bit of an exhibit and possibly drive around if everything goes well. But let me show you what's been going on, and then you'll just get to sort of follow along the mad dash to get this one finished. So I'm just taking some time and putting some tools away. I have one more tire to put on. Otherwise, everything's done. Brakes are done and bled. The IRS is completely in now. It was just sort of in with a couple bolts before, but it's completely bolted in, along with the parking brake, the drive shaft. Got the radius arms on both sides, and they will be tightened up when the car is on the ground. Yeah, brakes, of course, are bled up front. The only sort of thing that needs to be done underneath, so I'll do it when it's on the ground, is power steering lines. Need to put they are on the steering rack, but we need to put them on the pump, and then just get them to lay across the front here of the subframe. If I can do that when the car is lowered down. Otherwise, I don't think any progress really has been made in here. That still looks the same. That's where a lot of work is going to go on later. Next step will be the center console. Connect up all the cables. I'm not going to do the speedo or the tach. We can wait with that. Once that is connected up and I have the battery cables finished under there, we'll put a battery in it, see if everything works, if hopefully everything does work. And then, yeah, after that is throttle cable. It has manual chokes, so the manual chokes on both the carbs. The vacuum line going to the brake booster, and a few more things. But I'll show you guys the brake lines and all that when this thing is on the ground. So I'm gonna get this thing on the ground, start working on the battery thing, and then I'll update you guys when we connect up the battery and see if it works. A few hours later, and a lot has actually been done. So this hose here and the pipe over there, that is new, so that's for the vacuum to the brake booster, so that's in place. We have this mount here for the battery. That mount is in. This plate and the plate underneath is in. Had to be modified a bit, but that fits now. The wiper motor is fully secured and in place. And I put the negative battery cable in place. I'm going to put the positive one in place now. After that, it is... this one is one of the pulls to open the bonnet release. So that needs to go over there. Because I moved that to the other side of the car. And after that, we're gonna have to figure out the so one part I don't have is I don't have a perfect throttle mechanism for a right-hand drive. I mean, for a left-hand drive. I do have a right-hand drive one, so but I think this has been modified at some point. So I'm gonna have a look what it looks like on my car and figure something out. The geometry and everything here is going to be the same, like the pull here, the pull for the kick-down cable. Sorry, I'm really tired. So I just need the cable to pull, instead of pull from down here, I need to pull from up there. So maybe this can be moved to here and extended, or maybe I make something. We'll see. I have some sheet metal, I can make something. We'll figure that out. Then it's these two choke cables that go onto each cable, to each carb. And that is pretty much it in here. Yeah, still the power steering hoses. But otherwise, that's actually pretty much it to be able to fire this thing up. And then, of course, I haven't done anything inside. But, yep, brief little update here. I'm going to continue. More fun things ahead when we actually see this thing fire up. But it's all these jobs, small jobs that you think are 5-minute jobs, but end up being, an hour and a half jobs. I've tied up a couple loose ends, so now the positive cable is connected up as well here and with a cover on and zip tied in place, so that's all good. The hose is connected here to the brake booster all the way there. I have the bonnet release cable set up all the way there. Still need to hook up the other one, I just realized. Choke cables are now run where I want them to be, as is the gas cable. But I think I have to think about the mount, but it will be something along the lines of here. I'll make a mount out of either I take, because this part looks homemade, I'll take this mount and modify it, or I'll make my own mount. We'll see about that. But the thing I really want to do is get battery in here. And before that, I have, it's dark in here, but I have a bit of things to connect. So I'm going to connect up the loom by the feet over there and the center console and get all that in place. And then we can get battery in and see what works and what doesn't work. I've connected up most of it. What is left goes to, most of this goes back here, goes to center console. Center console also plugs in here, and there's a cable under there, the orange one. This goes up to the middle here with the clock and the buttons and everything. So is that one, I think. And then this goes into center console and all of this as well. I've removed all of that. That was just a bunch of really bad stereo wiring everywhere. And it was just really not well done, not safe. So we'll remove that for now. When the owner wants to put in a stereo, I'll help him out with that. So yeah, that tied everything up pretty neatly. And let me show you the light, the loom laying over there. So that is going pretty well. I have just vacuumed out this area here, made it nice because it was just pretty gross in here. I'm going to set the center console in, start plugging that thing in. Then the top tray over here, plug that in. And after that, I think everything is plugged in and we can actually get battery in here and see if anything works. I've connected up the battery briefly and most things work except for a couple important things, but one of them is I don't have a fuel pump. So in the last wiring harness, there was a lot of cutting and stuff. So I think this is power into the fuel changeover switch. And I traced this wire here, which is where I have power in. And I found this cut wire here. So they are connected, I'll get power here. So I'm gonna try and connect that one to there. See if that energizes the whole system and see if that brings the fuel pumps to life. That sort of is the big stop at the moment. So fingers crossed that fixes it. All the other issues are pretty minor. Indicators are not working, wipers work, all the other instruments seem to work. But the fuel pump is a really important one. This is really temporary, but I just connected this back up. This brown cable, the whole car is full of brown cables. I ripped most of it out, but this is something that they've jerry-rigged before to get things to work. But I'll remove it if I know this works. I'm just connecting that cable to that cable. So let's see. We do have a fuel pump. Great. I'm going to connect this up the way it's supposed to be, and then can start troubleshooting some other things. But having a fuel pump, really, we're a lot closer to getting this thing running now. I've just really temporarily hooked up throttle linkage there. I haven't made that one yet. And I've put the choke cables in. I just want to see if it fires up, if we have any gauges, and if it's charging. That's really all I want to do. So yeah, let me go around. Let's see if it fires up. And if it does, it's charging. That's next, because I don't have a charging light, but I don't really know what's going on because that's the old pressure light. Great. Oil pressure coming up. Let me have a look at the multimeter. $13.8. So we are charging. Let me see if the gauge in the car shows charging as well. Yep, that's coming up. Perfect. So that seems to work. I'm not going to run it more because I don't have any power steering fluid in it, and they're still have a coolant system a little bit drained. But that's some good motivation. It's a good start to the day. What's smoking over there? It smells like some oil. Yeah, let's do some oil on the exhaust from when I've been doing stuff over there. Awesome news. Don't know why the light's not working. It's charging. And everything else seems to be working. So awesome. I'm just really tired, but I'm very, very excited that it's up and running. Continue some more things, and then with that, I think I can actually make a permanent cable there for the fuel switch now, and put all that back together because now I know it works. The gauge works. I do have some fuel. I might just put a little bit more fuel in the tank, see that the fuel gauge works. But otherwise, this is awesome. It is many, many hours later. It's actually the next day, and sitting here warming it up a little bit. I'm just gonna quickly check the mixtures, gonna double check the ignition timing on it. But it is as together as I can get it. I need to be there in an hour. Like I said, this is just to get it so we can legally drive it to the meet, and it's just gonna be sitting at the meet. It's not gonna be driving there and driving back. It is like 15-20 kilometers there and about the same back. So we're just seeing what happens. We don't have indicators, I know that. We're missing part of the interior. That should be fine. I'm gonna put the dash top, just lay that on, and lay the center console lid on there. But I'm just gonna check a few things now while this warms up. Make sure that we're not gonna fail on emissions at least. And you'll join me in a little bit. We'll be at the testing station. So it was a little bit stressful there at the end, so I haven't filmed here. But, I mean, we didn't pass, but we have 30 days to fix things. There's a little bit of a list, but it's not too bad. One of those is these a little bit too high emissions, but I think the manual choke cables, they stick. So I think they were a little bit stuck on, and I didn't have a chance to have a look at that. We have, of course, the indicators not working, which I knew about. It's missing a switch there, so yeah. And then we have one of the headlights is too high, one is too low, and that was pretty much it. So I'd say for this thing being just like power put together in a very short time, that really isn't that bad at all. I'm gonna limp it back home, or not limp it, just drive it slowly back home because I barely have any fuel. I'm gonna get some fuel in it, and then I am gonna have a well-deserved rest. Tomorrow the owner will pick up the car and he will drive it to the show, so I'll show you guys it there. And after the show is going to come back and we're going to finish a lot of it. There's interior bits and pieces to put back on and a lot of things, but it's going to be there sort of as a centerpiece. I'm going to show some of the work I do, and I'm going to talk about this whole process. It's actually pretty nice. It's not completely complete, and I can maybe, you know, fit some panels and do some things while it's there. So fast forward to a couple days in the future and you'll see the car at the show.
Well, we made it to the summer meet. Here is the Daimler. The owner drove it here, and besides having a little bit of water in the fuel because the drains are completely plugged, it's it went pretty well. It desperately needs an alignment and a couple other things, and yes, it's not finished, but we are at the summer meet right now. You'll see future videos on that. We're at the basement, the parking garage underneath. It's a really nice luxury resort called Riviera Strand here in Båstad. It's right on the beach, but you'll see that in a separate video. Lovely place. So tomorrow I'm going to do a little seminar here talking about what I've done, the work I do on cars. So I have this one to show things on. Then we have a leather specialist here who's going to do some stuff on a rear seat I have for my XJS. And then my old friend got to come along, the Series 2 XJ12, the car I've had the longest. We're coming on 10 years now in September, so really fun to bring this thing along. I'm not going to do anything with it really here during the show, besides there's a little bit of we call it a rally, but it's like a long tour that you drive together, about a 3-hour drive, so that's what I'm going to take that for. And The XJS is coming along as well, but that will be in the concourse. So you'll see all that in a future video. But anyways, this video was on the mad dash to get this thing on the road in here. And we succeeded. We are here. It's ready to go. And I think people are going to find it pretty exciting to see what we've done to this car, which is a massive job. Converting a car from right-hand drive to left-hand drive, it's not for the faint of heart. It's massive. We'll talk about that maybe in the future, just how many hours it actually is and how big of a job it is. But the owner's really happy. The car is almost the way he likes it now. There's a couple of small things we're going to change, but you see that in the future. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Till next time, I'm Adam. This was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.